Hey guys, guess why I'm going live today? I invite a really special guest for all of you. His name is Russell Brunson, the co-founder of ClickFunnels. Well, I'm just waiting for him to join us. Hello everybody. Okay, I think I see Russell is live. Let me add him on. And we are live! Hi
Hey,
Russell!
how's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing amazing. How you been?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking your time out and join us live today with my audience. Thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. It's so much fun. I appreciate you letting me be on with everybody. This is so
Yeah,
fun.
okay. Well, to those of you who don't know, Russell Brunson, he's the co-founder of ClickFunnels, and he took the company from zero to over $100 million into 3 short years. And he popularized the concept of online sales funnel. And Russell is also the author of .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, and his latest book, Traffic Secrets. There we go. All right, we should talk about that in a little bit. Well, he's a genius in online marketing, and I have learned so much from him through these books. I would even call them like the Bibles of online marketing. Well, Russell, you literally made me feel like I learned nothing in university because I graduated with a marketing degree, and after I read through your books, .com Secret, Expert Secret, and then Traffic Secrets, I feel like, what did I even learn in school? And like, why did I spend all that money to go to university and learn marketing? But yeah, you're such an inspiration for me. Well, Russell, can you talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how did you get started?
Yeah, it's crazy. People tell me I look like I'm 11 years old, but it started like almost 18 years ago now. So I've been doing it for a little
Yeah,
while. And I actually was in college, and I had just met my beautiful wife, who's now mother of my 5 kids, and we were trying to figure out how to be married, and I was wrestling the time. I didn't want to quit school, and so I looked on the internet, tried to figure some stuff out, and I spent so many hours, like for years, trying to figure out how to play this game. And I
yeah,
sold one of my first products that actually started making money was a DVD teaching people how to make potato guns, and
hmm,
it was kind of fun that we started with that, and then from there we started like kind of playing different concepts and ideas, and we kind of stumbled upon this concept of funnels. We didn't call them funnels back then, but we started selling things differently and having upsells and downsells, and it was just really fun. And from that, eventually we built ClickFunnels, and then we started writing books talking about it. But it's just been
yeah.
it's been the most fascinating, most fun journey in the world, just to as I'm learning these things, to be able to share them with other people as well. So much fun.
That's awesome. So when did you realize that you were called to be an entrepreneur? When you realized that, okay, I have this special talent that I can change people's lives. When did you like see that as a calling?
It's funny. Like initially, like when I was a young kid, I don't know if I looked at it as calling as a kid, but I know when I was a kid, like I knew that I was a little different. I was like there's something here. There's something really fun about business. And in fact, when I was like 12 years old, I used to order junk mail, and
Yeah,
like how to get rich quick on before the internet. So how to get rich quick through direct mail and things. And I'd read all these sales letters, and so I was passionate about it back then, but I didn't know how to do it. And it
yeah,
wasn't until it was after I met my wife and we got married, and I was still wrestling, and I was trying to figure out a way to help support her, and I started learning about these things, and for the first few years it was just like I never thought I was going to be teaching other people or sharing. I was just learning to learn it for myself, and then we started selling potato guns, and we started selling supplements, and just started like
mhm,
selling all sorts of things. And I'd say it was probably somewhere in the middle of that is when a lot of people around me, like friends and family members, were like, "What are you doing? Like, when are you going to get a job?" I was like, I don't really need a job. And they couldn't understand why. I'm like, I sell things on the internet. And that was back when that was not a cool thing. And they were like, they could, like, you sell things on eBay. They knew eBay, but that was about it. I was trying to explain. And then I remember the first time I was like, well, I'm gonna help some people. So I told my friends and my family members, I'm gonna do a workshop. I'm gonna teach you guys what I'm doing. And then at the time, I had a list of, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people. I sent an email to this list. I was like, I'm doing this workshop for my family, teaching them marketing. If you guys want to come to it, it's 5,000. I just made up a number. I'm $5,000 to come to this event. And I sent
yeah.
out this email, and 3 people sent me $5,000 to come to this event. And I was like I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, oh. And so I put on this little event. I had my friends, my family there, and then these 3 people that paid, and I started teaching it. And like it was so much fun to teach it and to like see people, like the light bulbs go off in people's heads. Like I remember like the first time I learned a lot of stuff, it was like, what? I get so excited, you know? But then I would teach it and I see like light bulb go off in their head, and that was even more exciting for me than when I was figuring it out. And so I think that's when I realized like I want to do more of this. I want to teach people. I want to keep I don't know, I want to help the next level of entrepreneurs to shortcut all the stuff I had to figure out for 10 years, you know?
Yeah, that's really awesome. Okay, well, before we talk about your new book, as what is sales funnel and why is this important for business, especially online business? Why do they need a sales funnel?
Yeah, I'll explain it with my potato gun DVD. That might be the easiest way. So when I had my potato gun DVD, it was like a
Hmm.
$37 DVD. And back when traffic was really cheap and really easy,
Yep.
like I would pay like 5 cents a click on Google, and then people would come and they would buy it. And like it was so easy. We were like, I was like, this is the easiest game in the world. I love it. And then then I experienced the very first ever, they call it a Google slap, where I got slapped by Google, where they changed the algorithm and the pricing went up. And soon I was like, I was spending money to sell the DVD, but it was costing me, you know, $4 or $5 a click, and it just didn't work anymore. Like I wasn't able to make money, so I had to turn the website down, turn it off. And about that time, I had a friend, and he called me, and he was like, I figured out the secret. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you need to have an upsell. I'm like, what do you mean an upsell? And he's like, well, you know when you go to McDonald's and you order a Big Mac, and they always ask you, like, hey, do you want fries and Coke with that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's called an upsell. He's like,
Hmm.
McDonald's makes the majority of their money from an upsell. They don't make money from the Big Mac. And I was like, okay, well, how does it work for me? And he's like, well, he's like, you have the potato gun DVD. He's like, what's the next thing somebody needs? I was like, well, if they buy the DVD, they have to go buy pipes and barbecue igniters and all the things you got to go buy at the store. He's like, what if you made a kit that like somebody could upsell? You could upsell the kit. And I was like, well, I don't really want to be in the business of like cutting PVC pipes and shipping them to people. But I found a guy in northern Idaho. I live in Idaho. He lived up in the northern side, who actually had sold potato gun kits for some crazy reason. So I did a partnership with him. So someone would buy my DVD for $37, and the upsell was for $200. We would just ship them all the kit, so they would have to go and buy it at the store. And I made that little upsell, and what happened was crazy. 1 out of 3 people who bought the DVD started buying this kit. And suddenly I was making more money from every single person that bought my DVD. And we didn't call it funnels back then. That was my very first funnel. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the secret. Like if my ad costs double, I can still make enough money to cover ads, like still be profitable. And so then I was like, I got to figure out, like, what other business can I do this for? So we tried it with every business you could dream of. We did like information products on like weight loss and dating and couponing. I did supplements. We did physical like brick and mortar locations. I would go to those companies like, I want to try this funnel. I have this funnel concept. Let me try these things out. And we would test them, and for years we would just try all sorts of different ways to do, because there's tons of ways you can do funnels. We were just making up stuff and trying things and testing things, and we saw what other people were doing, and that's kind of where, at least for me, where funnels came from. And then about 6 years ago is when, you know, at the time when we did a funnel, every single one was like hand coded. Like we had to like create a page, and then upsell, like every single page was custom coded. And my business partner, his name's Todd, was like, I can make software that made this easy. I was like, okay. And so he built what is now called ClickFunnels. And it just makes the process of making and building funnels really, really simple.
That's awesome. And you applied the same concept of using sales funnel, and you took ClickFunnels from zero to over $100 million into 3 years. I was like, wow, that's really
We
impressive. And you did
practice
it
what we preach.
without any funding as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what is Traffic Secret, and why did you write it?
Yeah. You know, all my books have been written because I've noticed like the business owners, you know, the entrepreneurs in our market are struggling with something. So when I wrote the .com secrets book, is because we launched ClickFunnels, and people had software to build funnels, but they didn't know what funnels were or how to use them. So I wrote the first book because
Mhm.
it was like, let me explain how funnels work so you can understand the psychology. So that was the first book. And then about a year after that book came out, then I was noticing a lot of people were getting good at building funnels, but most of them were really bad at like getting people to actually buy something in their funnel. Like, how do you tell your story in a way that like gets somebody to buy, and how do you move them through the funnel? And so the second book was like, here, let me teach you like how to communicate with your audience. And then about 2 years ago, I was like noticing, you know, some people have really good funnels and they're good at selling, but they're only getting like 100 people a day to come to their funnel. They hardly any traffic. And I was looking at like, what's the difference in people that make, you know, $1 million a year versus 10 versus 100? And for most of them, like the funnels are the same. They're not like, they don't have some secret funnel that nobody knows about. The funnels are the same. It's that the people that are making way more money are the people who know how to get more traffic and get more people to see their message. And so I was like, that's the next thing people need right now is really understanding how to get more people to come into your funnels, to see your message, to follow you on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Like if you don't have an audience of people to sell to, then you're not going to make any money. And so this book was all about how do we get people and eyeballs to whatever it is we're trying to do. And so it took me about 18 months to write the book. But it turned out, I don't know, I'm really proud of it. I think it turned out good. And it's different than other books on traffic. Like a lot of books are like, here's how to do Facebook ads, or here's this loophole we figured out that works for a little bit, and then the loophole closes and it doesn't work anymore. Where this book's very much help people understand traffic from a more strategic standpoint, so that if your Facebook account gets shut down or you get kicked off Instagram or YouTube, whatever, you have dozens of other ways to get traffic, so you don't lose your business.
Okay, I see. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Doesn't matter what people sell. They need people to know what they're selling before people can buy your product or service. So I totally agree with that point. So I guess before you can sell your product or find customer, you must be able to identify who your dream customer is. That's what you talk about in the book, which is in the first chapter as I read through it. So can you talk a little bit about what is a dream customer and how can someone identify the dream customer?
Yeah, I think that most businesses know that, like, if you have a business, like sometimes you have customers you love to work with, like these people are awesome, and then you have customers who come in and they complain and they're cheap and they won't give you money, and like they're like your nightmare customers, right? And I think a lot of times when people talk about traffic, they're just like, oh, here, let me show you how to get traffic, and they're getting you people, but maybe they're the people that like you really don't want to be working with. I was talking to a chiropractor earlier today, and he was telling me how he's like, I get customers from Groupon, but they're the worst customers ever. They're cheap. They use the coupon. They never come back. He's like, I don't want any more of those customers. I want dream customers. And so this book's about like, how do you figure out who your dream customers are? Like, who are the people who can afford your products? They can afford your service. They're actually going to listen to you. They're going to do what you say. Like, if you can figure out who that person is, then it's easy to go and find them. I think most people just go and try to find traffic and they never think about that first step is who is your dream customer? So we got to figure out that first and really understand it at a deeper level. Like, what do they believe? What are they interested in? What are the things that excite them? What are the things that they're scared of, they're afraid of? And if you understand that, then it's like, okay, now that I know that, now I need to find where are these people, where are they hanging out online? Because the internet's really cool. It gives us all the ability for all of us to hang out in different groups, right? Like, for example, right now, anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship is on your channel, right? You've got a huge following of people who are interested in entrepreneurship. So like, you've got them all together in one spot, right? And then there's blogs about entrepreneurship. There's podcasts. There's people with email lists. There's all these different pockets of customers all over the place. And so then our job as a marketer is to say, okay, I know who my dream customer is. I found out where they're hanging out. How do I get my message out in front of them? How do I get my hook, my story, my offer? How do I get those things in front of those dream people? And that's really what traffic is just really identifying who's your customer, where are they hanging out, and then how do I get my message in front of those pockets of customers?
That's really awesome. Okay, so first you identify who you want to attract, which is your dream customer, and then find out where they hang out, and then put out hooks that would bring them into your funnel, right? So yes. Now let's say after you got them into your funnel, how do you convert them into paying customer? What do you do next?
So you kind of alluded to it a little bit here. Like I have in chapter 4 of the book, I talk about this framework called hook, story, offer. Mm-hmm. And it's like the foundation of everything. And most people don't think about it. So what a hook is, first off, the hook is the thing that grabs your attention, right? So I always think about like, if I'm sitting, or if my customer's at home on the couch and they're on their phone, they're bored out of mind, so they're scrolling through, they're scrolling through their feed or whatever. And like the hook is the thing that makes them stop. Like, why did they stop in the middle of the scrolling? Like, wait, what is that, right? Like that's the hook. So the hook can be anything from like the headline to the image to the background to like whatever it is. Like the hook, everything we have to like grab their attention for a second. That's the hook. Then after we have their attention for a second, then we have this little window of time to tell them a story, right? And the goal of the story is to do two things. Number one is to build connection with the audience. And then number two is to increase the perceived value of whatever it is you're going to offer, right? So for example, right now, like I can show you how hook the story works right now. Right now, you threw out a hook. You're like, Facebook Live, I'm going live, or Instagram Live, I'm going live, right? And within like a minute, we had 900 people who jumped in really quick, right? And so that was the hook that got their attention. And then we've been telling stories, right? Telling stories about traffic and how you grow a company, about funnels. We're telling stories. And hopefully your audience is building, like hopefully they, I'm sure some people might think that I talk too fast, but hopefully some of them are like, oh, this guy Russell's really nice, right? Yeah. So we build a connection, we build through story. And then we're telling stories about this book. And then the end of this, just here's the big surprise. We're going to offer you guys a copy to go get a free copy of the book. So then it's the offer. Now, if we've told the story good, we've built up the perceived value. Now you're like, I need to get this book. Like, that sounds amazing. I want a copy of it. And then we make the offer. And so that's really the thing, is like, after you find these people, it's like you throw a hook to get their attention. Then you tell them a story that hopefully will build a relationship with them. And then number two, it'll increase the perceived value of whatever you're trying to sell them. And then at the end, you make an offer. Like, here's the offer of the thing that I want to give to you. And so that's kind of how it works. And what's fun is, like, when you start playing this funnel game, hook, story, offer is everywhere. Like, in every ad, there's a hook, there's a story, and an offer. In every landing page, there's a hook, there's a story, offer. Every sales page, there's a hook, story, offer. Every upsell page, like, every page has that. And if for whatever reason, if an advertising campaign is not working, or a funnel's not working, or just a certain step in the funnel's not working, it's always because of one of those three things. Either the hook's not grabbing their attention, the story's not building a relationship and building up the perceived value of the offer, or the offer's no good. And it's always one of those three things. When you understand that, it becomes really easy. Like, the internet marketing game becomes easier, because you're like, I just have to become better at throwing out good hooks, better at telling really good stories, and better at making offers. And if you get those three skills down, it makes it really, really easy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in the book, you also talk about the importance of publishing content on the internet. Why is that so important for entrepreneurs who are trying to sell their product or service online?
Yeah, it's funny, as I launched this book, I've got some people blow back, like, if I have to you know, they say, like, if I have to become like Gary Vee and go live 1,000,000 times a day, I don't want traffic. And I tell people, look, there's two different ways. Like, one way to get traffic is we call it buying your way in, right? So for example, like Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook, he owns a whole bunch of traffic, right? But we can go there and we can pay money and say, like, I want to control some of this traffic. We send it to my funnel or to my webpage. And you can pay him, and he'll do that, and he'll send some traffic. And so some people, like, if you don't want to publish like that, you can do that. There's paid ads, and we talk a lot about that here in the book. But the second way to get traffic is what we call working your way in, right? Where you're earning traffic and you're producing content and you're putting things out there that are free, or you know, things like that. And so that's kind of the second side. And I think traditionally, people that buy from like free content usually convert higher. They're better customers because they didn't like see an ad and go buy something. They built a relationship, right? They heard a story. And so, excuse me, like I mean, you know this, I publish on a lot of places. Like, I'm on Instagram every single day, and then we publish on YouTube, we publish on Facebook, and like, we're publishing all over the place. But you don't have to do that to you know, but I do suggest everyone picks like one platform that they like. Like, you don't have to be like me and be on 20 of them, but like, figure like, what's the one you like the most? So if you love Instagram, right now we're all hanging on Instagram, I would recommend, like, learn how to publish on Instagram, how to post good things on your wall, how to go do Facebook Lives, or not Facebook, Instagram stories, like Instagram Lives. Like, how do you do that? And there's a whole chapter in this book about Instagram specifically, like how we use Instagram and how we use it. But obviously, everyone who's following you, they see you do it. You're doing a great job with it, you know, like, and I think they can see that. It's like looking at what people are doing and modeling it, and being consistent with it. And so the more you're putting yourself out there, it's scary at first. For anyone who hasn't done it yet, it's scary, but there's two reasons why you got to do it. Number one is, the more that you put yourself out there, the more content you publish, the better you'll get at it. You'll start finding your voice. You'll start feeling more comfortable. We do a big event every year, and I show people the video clips of me when I first got started, and they are so bad. But I've been doing this now for 15 years, and I keep going live, and like, you get more comfortable and you feel better about it. So number one is, you're doing it so you can find your voice and you can become better at it. And number two, you're doing it long enough that people can find you. So there's a story I tell in this book. It's from one of my friends, Nathan Barry. He wrote a blog post called "Endure Long Enough to Get Noticed," and he talked about how many TV shows that like have been on TV for a long time, but you don't find out about them until season 3 or season 4, you know, or different things like that. And he says something interesting. He says, you know, number one is you have to publish good content. But number two is you have to publish long enough that your dream customers can find you, right? There's so much content being published that I think us as people, we wait for the best stuff to rise to the top. And so we got to consistently keep going out there and doing it for, number one, that you can find your voice, and number two, your people can find you. And so it's really important, I think, for all of us. Like, the more you can do it, the better you become. And that's how you start building a following, and how you kind of start controlling your own traffic.
So you also talk about, in the book, you talk about the traffic that you own is the best type of traffic. Can you explain why it's the best type of traffic when you own the traffic? Yeah,
definitely. I talked about before, there's traffic that you control, so you buy ads, the traffic that you earn, that you you know, like right now I'm earning traffic, right? Like, I'm here, we're doing the interview, and like, there's people here, so I'm earning traffic. But the third type of traffic is traffic you own. So that's the best. That's like traffic you own is like your own email list, your own following, your own platform. And the reason why it's the best is because right now, for example, like we have an email list with over 2 million people on it. So those 2 million people who have joined my email list, and let's say tomorrow Mark Zuckerberg decides he hates Russell or he hates ClickFunnels, whatever, and he decides to shut down my accounts and he doesn't let me buy any advertising ever again. Like, as much as that would be like, oh, that sucks. At the same time, I have an email list of 2 million people. So like I own traffic. I can continue to send out emails to them. I can send them to my new book. I can send them to buy my other offers. I can send them to my podcast. Like, I control that traffic. I can send it to other places. I've been watching people, I've been in this business now for, I think, 17 or 18 years. And I've been watching people who have come and gone. And there's been so many people who have made a bunch of money and they disappear. And the ones that have lasted for a long time are the ones who understood this one principle of like, you have to own the traffic. You have to control. Like, if you don't own your own traffic, you're at the whims of all these other people. And so for me, when I buy any ads, if you notice any of my ads, I'm always pushing somewhere where somebody's got to give me an email address. So if you go to my book, like step one, let me know your email address, and then now I have your email address, and then you can finish the checkout process. Right now you're on my list. Now I can send out emails to you. I can follow up with you. Your traffic that I own at this point. And I think for everybody, if you understand that, it's the thing that protects you, especially right now. Like, all the economic uncertainty that's happening right now. The companies right now that are just like not struggling are the ones that have a customer list and they're still making offers. They're still building connection and relationship with them. Like, those are the ones that aren't freaking out. The ones who don't have a customer list, where all of a sudden all their customers got quarantined to their house and now there's nobody coming, no walk by traffic or no one driving by or no one coming. Those are the companies freaking out right now because they didn't have their own traffic. They were at the whims of people walking past their location or whatever. And when that disappears, their business disappears. And it's a scary thing. And so I think for everyone, just understanding, like, man, if you can figure out how to own your own traffic, then you control your own destiny. You can write your own checks.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So if someone just started, they want to build their own list to own their own traffic, how can they get started? What do they do? What's the first step?
The very first step. So the first step is understanding that, like, I think people always think that they have to create their own traffic, right? I think understanding that, like, you don't have to create traffic. Like, traffic's already there. People have already, people are already on the internet. They're already doing stuff, right? So your job isn't to go create traffic. Your job is to figure out, like, where is traffic already at? And so it's figuring that out. It's figuring out, like, where we talked about earlier, like, who's your dream customer? Yeah. Where are they hanging out? Like, those are those pockets where traffic's already at. So I think if I was getting started, like, I would be going to those places and say, okay, where are my customers? Where are they at? And finding it, and then joining those groups, like listening to the podcasts they're listening to, like reading the blogs they're reading, joining the Facebook groups, being on stuff like this. Like, anyone who's entrepreneurs following you and they're listening to lives like this, you're paying attention to what's happening. And it's just listening for, like, what are the opportunities that are available right now? Like, what are the problems that people are having? Every one of my books came from, like, me listening to the market and, like, what are people frustrated with? Like, I wrote Traffic Secrets because right now everyone over the last 2 years have been freaking out. Like, I got my ads account shut down. Like, I don't know how to get traffic. Like, my product's so much better than my competitors, but nobody's buying mine. How do I get my people to know about my product? And I was just listening, like, everyone's struggling with traffic right now. Like, let's focus on that and let's just show them that. So if I was getting started, like, I would go find out, again, who do you really want to serve? And then where are those people at? And I would go and just listen, like, what are they struggling with? Where can I help? Like, what are the pain points that I can solve? And then what product or service can I create to help solve those problems for them? And that's where I would 100% start if I was getting started again right now.
That's an amazing tip right there. Okay, well, from the sound of it, when people hear about traffic, website traffic, they think about online marketing. Would this book work for somebody who has, like, a physical store, like a brick and mortar business?
100%. In fact, it's funny. One of my favorite restaurants just got built, like, a block from my house, which is so exciting. And he spent the last year building his business. Then he launched it on the same day that Donald Trump told everyone to go home. And I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. So it's a waffle. It's called Waffle Me Up, and it's, like, the best waffles in the world. And he's been in there, and I went and visited him. And they're making waffles, and they're bringing them out to the outside and handing to people. They're doing Uber Eats and trying to grow the company. And I went and saw him, and I was like, how are things going? He's like, it's tough. He's like, it's hard to get people in right now because no one's leaving their houses. And I was like, well, how many people have come in? And he's like, well, we've gotten, I don't know, a couple hundred people that came in. And I was like, what you need to do, I'm like, this is, like, literally this is a page from Traffic Secrets. Like, those people that have come in your place. I was like, do you have any contact information? He's like, yeah, I have their phone numbers and most of their email addresses. I was like, okay, that's traffic that you own. Those people who came to you once and they're there. Like, I told him, I was like, look, I love your store. Like, I love Waffles more than anything right now in the world. I was like, but I only like, it only comes to my head like every couple weeks. I'm like, oh, I should go back and get Waffles. Like, it's not top of mind all the time. I was like, but if you took your customer list of people like me and everyone who's came through, and at 4 o'clock every night, you're like, hey, it's 4 o'clock, dinner's gonna be in an hour. If you want, I can make some waffles for you right now, and you come grab them and have them for dinner, and they'll be ready for you by 5 o'clock when your kids are screaming for dinner. If I got that text message, that email every day at 4:30, man, I would have waffles at least 4 or 5 times a week. Because I'd be like, oh, thank heavens, like, my kids are driving me nuts. I don't want to go make dinner again. Like, waffles are right there. We can go grab them. They'll be ready for me. And I was like, man, if you start doing that with these people, you could, like, every time you send out an email or got a text message, you can get people to come back into your business. And this is times of like quarantine and craziness. I was like, if you did the same thing, after this is over, it's even more so where you can get people coming in all the time. So I think it's understanding these principles. Traffic are just people, but these principles work with any people. If you got a brick and mortar company, 100% it works for you. It's just understanding the same principles and applying them to what it is that you're doing in your business.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, that's very important that you own the traffic, you own your list so that you can get your message out to your customer, even though they might not be physically coming to your store, right? So that's really awesome. Okay, well, one last question. I know you're tight on time, but besides buying traffic secrets, which is every business need, what advice would you give to a business that's struggling, that's suffering right now because of what's going on? What advice do they have for them? Do you have for them that they can do to sustain the business?
I think the biggest thing is understanding that the way that we sell our products right now is different than it was a month ago. A month ago, we were in very good economic times, right? And everything was normal and nothing weird was happening and everyone was fine. And so it's interesting. In chapter 1 of the book, I talk about with your dream customer, like, you have to understand when someone's coming to buy something from you, they're always moving in a direction. They're either moving, like, trying to move towards pleasure. So, like, if I buy this product or service, it's gonna make me happier. I'm moving towards pleasure, or they're in pain and they're trying to get out of that pain. And I think that, for the last 8 to 10 years, the economy's been so good that most people, like, they're buying your product because they're trying to move towards pleasure. Like, they want to make more money. They want to, they get more healthy. They want to, like, whatever it is you're selling, right? They're making their decisions trying to move towards pleasure. But a month ago, everyone's world got rocked and everyone got moved this spot of pain. And what you have to understand right now is that you have to shift the messaging of your product, your service, not so much like I'm going to help move you towards pleasure, but moving them away from pain. And a good practical application, my buddy Dean, who actually wrote the foreword for the Traffic Seekers book, he was a real estate guru forever. He used to run infomercials for like 20 years on how to make money in real estate on TV. And during the last financial crash in 2007, 2008, there was probably like 30 people that had infomercials about how to make money in real estate. And within like 2 months, all of them like turned their ads off, and Dean was the only one still running the infomercial. And then over the next 3 years during this recession and rebound, he ran his infomercials profitably the whole time, and then his business blew up right afterwards. And I asked him, like, how come you won and everybody else lost? And he said, because everybody else kept their infomercials talking about moving towards pleasure. All the messages were aspirational, like, here's how to make more money and how to get rich quick on flipping houses, whatever his thing was. He's like, I realized that people weren't thinking about that. He's like, people right now were scared and they were looking for how to get out of pain. So he's like, I didn't change my product. My product was still the same product, but I changed my messaging from instead of like how to get rich in real estate, it was like how to protect yourself during these scary times, like how to take advantage of the product. I think he's like, I positioned it more as a life preserver than an aspirational thing. And I think for all of us to understand that, like, the way we, like, our products don't necessarily have to shift, but we do have to shift how we market them right now, because people are not trying to move towards pleasure. They're trying to get out of pain. And if your product or service can help them get out of pain, they're going to come to you versus it's somebody else. And so that's kind of how I think the biggest shift right now during this economic time.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Russell. Well, to those who are interested in traffic secrets, I do have a link in my Instagram bio. You can click on that link. So make sure to go get Traffic Secret right now. The book is free. You just have to pay a small shipping fee. And also, Russell has some amazing bonuses for all of you who pre-order the book as well, right? Can you quickly mention what those bonuses are, Russell?
Yes. So again, like I said, the book's free. You just got to cover shipping and handling. And then I think there's 4 or 5 bonuses of people who spoke of funnel hacking live in the past on certain traffic things. So for example, there's an hour-long presentation of me you'll get immediately of me going through the framework of this book so you understand the core concepts. Another example is Dean Gracios, who wrote the foreword. I have a presentation he did at Funnel Hacking Live talking about how he helped 4x my traffic from one little tiny tweak. Prince EA, who's got over 3 billion views on his videos. There's a presentation from him showing how to make videos go viral. There's a presentation from Ping Jun about how he's one of the best salespeople on the internet right now, and how he gets so much traffic. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of really cool, powerful bonuses that are there that you get for free as soon as you get the free book. So you can start the book. Obviously, you got to wait for it to be shipped out to you, but all those other bonuses you can start watching like in 2 minutes from now if you wanted to. So.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. I know you're busy. I won't keep you longer. Go to the link in my bio. Get Traffic Secret right now. And thank you so much, Russell.
Thanks for having me. That was so much fun. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah. Right, bye.